a straightforward demonstration of how to use it. I will going for just step by step. So hopefully you guys have already got your login. If you haven't, just go to the CPAA website and you can see that it's a pipe class on the right hand side. If you click on it, it will come to this page here and you can click on the access now, where if you don't have your login yet, if you're new, you can go and make one for yourself. It's free. And if you have already, you'll be like me, you got your name and your email address on the top right hand corner. So it opens up as this page here where most of the information you will need to enter on the left hand side. And the right hand side, this diagram and all this information will change as you enter. So this is showing you pretty much what you're entering. There is main 4 tabs on the top, which is the pipe, the earth load, the in-surface design loads, and the construction loads. So if you ever just click on that circle, it will jump to that part. Or you can scroll from the first one to the end as you goes along. So very simple. On the right hand side, you have the save button and the print button. And as you see, if you go to other tabs, this main tab will be still on the top, so you can save any time in your progress if you need to do something else. And the print button doesn't actually go straight print to your printer. It actually just make a PDF file. I'll show you that later when I've got some data to actually print out. So the first one here is that is the name of your design. You can name it anything. For today, I probably just write online demo. And then you will have to save it. And then let's you see it's blanked a little bit. And then what happens is if you go to the more design, it will have a list of what you have designed before so that you can see the online demo. This is the new one that I just made. It have the date and time in it. And this will change as you enter your correct detail. And you can see this here, descriptions is empty. You go, oh, where can I actually enter that? So if you go back out using the edit here from these 3 dots, so you go and click on this, you can edit and go back out. This will open the file of the online demo. This is where the more info, where you can put the description. So if you enter it, it will come up with a little box here where you have your name of your design that you already have. You may have a job number, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. A client, let myself be my client. I'm my own client description. That's where you're gonna type in. Maybe it is a DN600 stormwater pipe. And then the company maybe it is designed for. I will just write my own. It can say somebody else, and any other notes that you want to attach to this design just for your own record. It will also come out, all this information will be printed in with your design when it is at the print page as well. So if I save that, if I go back to my design, now I have my description here that is updated. And if you want to add any more new ones, you can do so by adding here, or when you are outside here, you can use the same add button, which means you're adding a new design. As I clicked, it will be a new one. It will blank and you will need a new name for it. But for the moment, I don't need to, so I just go back in here and get my online demo back. You can also share your design. This is important to understand. You can only share this to people who actually have an account with PipeClass3, else they won't be able to open it. So to share design, make sure you share with someone who actually have a PipeClass3 account. What this does is when you press share, it'll ask you, oh, can you just type the email of the person that you want to send? Let's say I send it to myself. And then it'll go, okay, it is already shared with this person. And then you go, oh, yeah, I'm happy. So how does it look like on your email? It will come up as a email, and it will have the PipeClass3 logo, and it will say it's come from PipeClass3. And then it says, hey, Amanda have shared you a design. It's called a online project, and this is the link. So the person that have a PipeClass3 login can click on this, and what it happens is just it will go and open this exact what you have already saved on that design that you shared. So this is all the function on this. It's very small tab, but very important functions. And then we go down to the pipe, which is the first tab. I call it a tab. And it's all the design about the pipe you're gonna put into the trench. So I'll use a very simple and most popular one, which is property drainage. But you can also choose sewage or pressure pipes. So the calculation will change, depends on what you choose. So I will choose the stormwater pipe because it's quite popular, and most stormwater pipe is rubber ring joint, so I'll use that one. But if it's other joints, you can also choose that. As you can see, this is changing while I am clicking at the photo at the bottom. Like the jacking pipe and the flush joint doesn't have the collar. It also changed the suggest support type if I click anything as well. Very important, you will have the diameter of the pipe. Let's say I'm doing a 600 because that's what I enter in my description. So a 600, if your supplier at the brochure have a different size for the actual external diameter, or the socket external diameter, which means it's thicker, you can change it here, but it usually will have a number already. If you're not sure, or you have a rough number of the actual external and the socket external as a suggestion. But if you do have that brochure and you know which company you're going to use, that is good to actually enter the exact number for the dimension in this too. I'll leave it for now. And this one is how many you're gonna have. Is it single barrel, single line, or is it multi? So when I click multi, what it says is that, oh, how many are you gonna have? You can change this. Let's say, oh, I'll have 3 lines so next to each other, and the spacing of my design and so on. This is usually locked because this is suggest from the size of your pipe and the minimum socket spacing. So that is the minimum number is locked, but you can actually increase the spacing between the barrels so that this will also increase. So let's say I want 300. So you can see the socket space increase as I enter this number, increase number. But if I go back to 200, it will lock into the minimal. So this is all by the New Zealand Standard 3725, the requirements. But because I'm talking about very simple situation, I'm just gonna lay one single storm water here. Easy trench. As you can see when I click this change as well, don't worry. When we go down to here, we can still change the setting of your trench. So just let it be. Come back to here, I got my single barrel. And then I'll ask you, oh, do you know that your traffic is gonna be perpendicular, longitudinal, or both and school, which is pretty much the highest risk calculation. So I usually just click that unless you know your project very well, and for a particular one area that you know that it is going to be longitudinal or perpendicular, but usually both is the one that I use. And now we are at the earth load tab. As you can see, when I come down, it just highlight this blue here, which means I'm on the second phase of looking at the earth load. This is any material that you're going to put into the trench. So it talks about trenches, different type of trench. At the moment, it's displaying this embankment trench on the right-hand side. I'm going to have this and we use trench condition wall. So I click on the trench condition on the left-hand side here. It automatically will change on the right-hand side. And all the information and calculation also change as I go. At the moment, it's still suggesting my 600 diameter pipe should be roughly, oh, sorry, click the wrong thing. Go back. Should be class 2. And it's happy because I haven't entered any height of that trench or any soil type or anything. So soil type, the first one, New Zealand mostly wet clay, so it have already got the density in there and the calculation with the different units and etc. But if you need to change that because you already done the assessment of that project environment area of where the pipe is gonna be, you can click the bucking factor. The bucking factor will have all the information you want to change. For example, you want to change the each zone, what kind of density it actually is, and then you can save that. But for example, this red clay here, generally, roughly around this number that is suggested. And if I say, oh, it's a sand and gravel, as you can see, this number change automatically. And these ones is also change, depends on the soil type. But let's do wet clay because mostly New Zealand inland is wet clay. Dimension, this is the dimension of the trench width. So across both trench wall here, we're talking about B. And I say, it suggests me that for 600, it's 0.999. So I was go like, that's too hard to dig, isn't 0.999? And I want to maybe put in my trench shield as well. So I be 1.5, let's say. So I change that to 1.5. The calculation or automatic change, this will be a record down here. So as you can see, trench width is now 1.5. And then the height. So there's two things you can choose. There's a height of fill and a depth of invert. Some people ask me what does that mean. If you look at the diagram here, the height of fills is from the top of your pipe to the top of the trench, where the depth of invert is actually from where on the top of your overlayer to the top of the trench. So it depends on which number you actually have. I'll just have the height of fill and I will say, it's actually 2.5 meter deep. Sometimes it will have a warning sign. Just read that and you'll say, that's fine because this one is just telling me my skewed for the pipe that's going to be either both or skewed. So it just tell me that it's using a more higher calculation at the moment because of that. And I'm happy with that. So I just go, yep, click that. So that's this. I'm up to here where it is the height of field, and I'll look at the support. If you have been to my course, you know that there's different support type that is covered in the New Zealand Standard 3725. If you're not sure, you can refer back to it. So at this project that I have is actually no traffic. So I go like, let's do light traffic. Light traffic, so I go H1, I'm happy with H1. As you can see when I clicked it, these layer change, so I'll show you again. If I'm going for the unsupport vector factor of 1, it only have, I only have the bedding and the overlayer. And if I go to H1, which is the light traffic, it will have different layers telling me because when you print out that specification and the whole summary, it will tells you each layer, how thick it's gonna be, what kind of material you should put in, and this sifting material suggestion and everything like that. So if it is a normal two-lane traffic low HS1, as you can see, it again changed the diagram to the appropriate support type for your project. So for now, I will choose H1, which is 1.5. You can lower it if you think that it's necessary, but I usually go with the suggested one, which is 1.5, as in the New Zealand Standard 3725. Now, this is the download button for the specification of the support type. So if you're not sure or you forgot something and you don't want to go back to the New Zealand Standard 3725 because let's say I forgot where I saved it, it's quite handy. If you pressed it, what it does is that a PDF come out for my H1 support, and it tells me all about the requirement that I need to do for H1 support that I choose. It talks about the bedding, the excavation, and as I mentioned before, the actual sieve size of the material, the sizing, and the suggest thickness of your bed zone, and the refield will be which layers, and so on and so forth. This is all the information that for the support type that you chosen from the New Zealand Standard 3725 in a more clear way, and adding that sieving material which is really helpful. And which one here? Sorry. So that is this button. If I change to another one, let's just say I change to this one. If I sorry, it will keep coming up because I choose the way the road is. And then I open up, this will show me the HS1 support. So it's quite handy if you don't want to look at the very thick New Zealand Standard 3725. All right, let's come back to here, go back to my H1, and I'm happy so far. I've already done my earth load. So we done the pipe tab, we done the earth load tab. The next tab is the in-service design load. So I go down there and I say, yep, you're at the in-service design load. Let me just save it at the moment because I worry about all the stuff that I just entered have been lost, just in case anything happened to the internet. This is very important. The first thing, you must choose New Zealand road unless you are in Australia, because this will be showing all the New Zealand road vehicles and under the New Zealand Standard 3725 instead of the Australian, which is the 5100. So make sure you click the right one. And then because my one design so far is a light traffic, I'll click this. If it is other, don't worry about that. That's the same thing that's coming up. And if you have other load like the normal load or you have heavy vehicle, just click the one that is right for you. And if it's a railway load, it will be a bit different for the calculation as well. Just click the one that's right. And there's also a edit little button here, which if you have a particular thing that you want to like increase this for the light traffic, you can do so. For me, I just want the normal light traffic. This one also show that you can have edit your lane width, because now you have more lane for traffic, and you can edit it by clicking this, and then you go, oh, my lane is not the normal 3 meter as in our New Zealand road. This road is actually wider or actually as narrower, etc., so that it's calculated right load for your in-service vehicle load. But for my one, it's, remember, I'm just doing the light load, so I'm just going to click this and that's it. And then they say, oh, is there any other vehicles that you know it's going to constantly use this road? Maybe it is a heavy vehicle area, like maybe it is airport, or maybe that is somewhere that have a lot of industrial car or anything like that. You can add that if you have that information. But otherwise, if it's heavy vehicle, it's usually covered with the HO load. And then they have the last bit, which is the other loads that you want to consider for your design, like the pavement one, and also any point load, which would treat as a dead load in your trench, and also the uniform subcharge load. And sometimes it is quite handy to have add the weight of internal water. So let's do that for just as an example. As New Zealand Standard 3725 says that it does not need to distribute, but if your design depends on your project where it actually be, you want to distribute for that load, you can, and it will change the calculation. Now I'll come down to the last bit. Oh, let me save that. Save, okay. And then I come down to the last tab, which is the construction load. This one is quite straightforward. It is all about when they are doing work. This is not the in-service design load. This tab is mostly when you know that people on site what they're using, and they can add the vehicle. Once you click that, it will come up with a library. A library have a maximum of 7 pages at the moment, have all the most common construction vehicles in both New Zealand and Australia. So let's go to page 3. Just because most of the CAT vehicles is from page 2 on. And let's say I'm going to have a, I don't think I want a quarry truck, but maybe a digger. Let's see, page 2, I got the diggers. I'm going to be having a very quite a heavy digger. Let's do the 17.3 ton digger. Once you click that, you need to select vehicle. It is an automatic select. You need to click and then select. Then now it is showing here on this here. What this does is actually, if it's wrong, you can remove by the bin, or you can see the graph. So if you have come to my course, you know that it have graph that looks like this. This red line is the pipe that you have chosen, that 600 pipe on this design, have a proof load of 39 kilonewton per meter. And then it shows that this vehicle, CAT 317, is actually okay all the way from my field up to that 2.5 height. So I don't have to actually worry about it cracking my pipe. For this one, I'm happy. I can use it anywhere with a very low or not even no cover. That's also fine. Let's add another vehicle. Again, back to this library here. If you have a vehicle that you cannot find in the library, you can always choose this add a new vehicle to actually save in this library. If you do use this option, make sure that you enter something that is more description of the actual vehicle. Don't put your company name or your name in it, because other may see that. So it's let's I don't want to make one because just in case, but I did make one long time ago. So I make a spaceship. I'm just going to show you how it looks like. So if you have made something and you want to eat it, you just go here. So the name is a spaceship. This is a spaceship come from Mars, and the description is that it can have 4 aliens in it. It's actually okay for New Zealand standard. Not sure why, but yeah, it come from Mars and is happy to land in New Zealand, and it's gonna come visit the construction site when it's doing construction. You can change the width of your wheels. This is the wheels, as you know, that this is where the loading, the spacing, and the change the spacing of the wheels and how much is actually on each wheels, the kilonewton loading. You can actually add and edit from here. So add is here, edit is this one. So you can either delete or edit the property that you have already entered, but this is just an example. If you want to add a vehicle, you can do so, and then you can just save it, and then what happens is that it will be saved in the library somewhere according to when you saved it. If you don't want to look for something, this is the search bar. You can either search the name or search the description. So let's say I want a quarry truck, and it will automatic goes like, oh, I don't know, I can't find it. So I go like, oh, it must be in the description. Let's try description. And now all the quarry ones comes up, as you can see, quarry trucks. That is in the library. So you know, oh, my quarry trucks that I'm gonna use is actually not in the library. Then you may want to add a new vehicle. Right, so let's add my spaceship. Again, just click on it and then select vehicle, and it will show at the construction load list here where you add the type of construction vehicle for your construction state. So it will, because this is very heavy, that I made it very heavy, and it will have a higher allowable fuel range for my vehicle here. as compared to the other one that is all green. So again, it depends on the type of vehicle and the weight of the vehicle, and also your pipeline proof load, which is the red line here. Okay, I'm happy with all that information. I checked it, and I know if my spaceship from Mars that's going to come over, I need to have my minimum field of 0.89 meter. I have record that. I've told my construction people. And they are, okay, yep, if we see the spaceship coming in, we make sure there's enough field for it. So it's also showing here your minimum field on the outside. You don't actually need to click the graph. And then you go like, oh, do you want to distribute or not distribute? It's all about the calculation again. It's up to you, but usually it's okay to use do not distribute as in the New Zealand standards suggest. And then any adjustment, for example, at the moment, it's actually suggesting me that so far all my design should be a class 3, but my supplier that I'm going to use only make class 2 and class 4, so it is need to increase that to a class 4. As I click this, it automatically say, hey, it's increased to a class 4. Eh? Why does it say class 6? Hang on. Something wrong. Class 4. It automatically changed to class 4. Must be something I haven't saved. Make sure you save before you do the final this adjustment, so that it actually suggests me class 4. But if it is like I say, I want to increase it just because maybe I know later on this development in the next 30 years it will have maybe more traffic, etc., etc. I can put it into up to class 6, which is says increase to class 6, and the calculation also change, or even class 8, etc. But for now, I'm happy with class 4, so let's stick with class 4. You also can increase the support type, which is here recommended, because you are using class 4, you probably think that you can use a class 2, which may be cheaper. If you increase the support type, does it do that? No, not really. Okay. Maybe not in this case. Let's come back down here. Okay, let's not increase that because I'm actually happy there's no it's just light traffic, and I'm happy with a class 4. So this is what it suggests from the design, and I'll have all the calculation done. If you want to see the detail, you can click this here and say calculation details. It will tell you the earth load details of the calculation that you have choose from the information you entered, and the weight of load that I actually clicked it. If you haven't clicked that, it will not be included, and the traffic load for that light traffic. And all of this information here in green is as the tab, the first tab, the pipe, what I have entered, the earth load, what I have entered, and also all the zone that is in a trench, what it suggests the height of each zone, and the material the density that's going to be also inside here. Also record what kind of loading and also the construction load. I got a question too. It's about the basic plan with 30 minutes to record. Oh, I'm just reading what it comes up with the chart. I think it's an AI thing. Anyway, any questions so far before I show you the printout?
Yep, I've got a question just
Yes.
on the construction loads, and then if you
Yep.
scroll down, so yeah, right there. So it talks about how much cover before you apply the construction load.
Yes.
What does that mean much to you? The 0.510 to 0.55, and then another 0.58 to 2.5?
So this is this one,
Yeah.
because sometimes the graph it have this little um, from the calculation. It just plot from the calculation, right? So I know that if I see two ranges, I will go for the bigger range because it actually have a little bit of that shape of the graph that is gonna be a little bit under the proof load. So make sure that you look at the graph. That's probably why they have the graph as well. Just make sure that it's actually the correct green zone here.
Yeah.
which
So
is the higher one. Yes.
yeah. So if you got really, well, you're expecting a heavy construction vehicles, and then
Mm.
that's sort of dictating your cover. Um, does that then, how does that work if you needed more cover for the construction vehicle than your service load?
2 meters or whatever it is. So
Oh, so let me think of how to answer this. Okay, so for example, you have a heavier, so this is quite heavy, and it says that it's green here, right? I have another example that I showed, which is similar to the one that I showed in the when I'm doing the CPA course. So sometimes you have also the higher bit, which is too heavy. Just make sure that you have the covers in the range, which means the earth load is too much over here, when it's red. So make sure that your vehicle is used with this range of cover so that that extra earth load is not gonna be make it possible get cracks at which is higher than the proof load. So all of them will suggest the green zone. A green zone usually, if it's not a super heavy, it will always show that there is the safe zone. It have a minimum cover. So as long as you have that minimum cover, mostly in New Zealand, all the heavy equipment can be go on after that suggested minimum cover. But if in a very special case where you have actually imported a very heavy construction vehicle that you haven't used before, do check if there's any situation like this, just in case. Then you may have a upper limit, but very rare. I don't think it will happen in New Zealand.
It might, I
Yes.
was just thinking it might only happen in sort of embankment situations, perhaps, where you've got
Yeah.
large compaction vehicles forming the embankment over the pipe.
So
Yeah.
let's just as a exercise, I change this to embankment. So now it's embankment. Go back down, and I've still got the same vehicles. And you can see the number change a little bit, but not too much. So it's still showing the same graph because it is telling you that if you have enough of cover, so you probably have to have cover as in up after the overlay, you have enough cover to fill the top, you still can put the same vehicle onto it rather than thinking of how the shape of the trench is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, probably just need, yeah, in our drawings, if it was a particular case, you'd have to have some more notes on
Yes.
if you're expecting certain construction vehicles or method of compaction. Might need some more information on the drawings to say only use that compaction vehicle once you've got certain material, depth of material over the pipe.
That's very important. I do agree because people who is working on site, the installer may not be thinking about it. So if you give more information to them, that is actually helping to ensure that they can follow that notes and make sure that happens on site.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No. So once you have orders and you have saved and you're happy with your design, let's just change my trench again. Sorry, just because it makes more sense to me. Doesn't really matter. And then when you press the print button, this one comes out. It actually tells you that, oh, you can choose what you want to print. Again, it doesn't go to your printer. It just make a PDF file. For this training purposes, I will just show you everything that it has, which is the summary and the installation information sheet and the loading report and the installation specification and also the construction loading graph that I have chosen for those two construction vehicles. So I go print and I go, I am loading. Right. So it will be in one PDF, open file. one PDF. We'll start with the summary sheet, which have all the information like the project detail that enter in the first place. And it will tell you how many page and when you did it, etc., etc., who and what, whatever you entered for the information or display here, which is very helpful if you're gonna print this and give it to someone either on site or in your office. And then all that design that you have put in about the pipe size, and also the way that your pipeline is going to be, and the soil type, etc., etc. It's all here, and also with the diagram. The in-surface load, so it's pretty much just a copy of the printout of what we have entered. So now it's up to the in-surface load, which is the light one that I have selected, and with the internal water that I clicked. And it shows me the information for calculation, and also then down to the construction load, which I have two vehicles. Remember the digger and also the spaceship from Mars, and the allowable range it's also shown here. So if you are going to give it to someone who is not IT surveyor, who is not very good at using PipeClass3, or that even not very good at reading a email or something, print it out, give it to them, pretty much just shout out what they need to do. And then the next sheet is the installation and how do you say this word, quantities sheet, excuse my English. And it pretty much down here what is important. It's all about your trend, your support type. So everything is like every single zone actually show you how deep it should be, as well as what is the density requirement as in New Zealand Standard 3725, and also what kind of material. This is very important. That's why the PipeClass3 is very good, because the New Zealand Standard and also the CPAA guideline haven't got down to this accuracy. And this is to make sure that the material purchase is actually the right grade for your trench to give that good compaction and support to the pipe. So there it is. And then the last bit again is just recording your construction vehicle that if you have entered any. And then the next one is the actual calculation. This will be something for you to actually check, is that the right calculation as in the design that you have designed. If not, you can always change it on the PipeClass3 with the details you need. Just pretty much very good tool to double check things. And there's the other in-surface load and other loads, just showing you the calculation value. And then we have the installation specification. This is the one, it will show you the support type that you choose. It won't show all of it. So it will only print out the one that you have choose for this design. Again, it showed the same thing with the suggest material in detail and all the other zones and stuff like that, and which one is gonna be okay for like it's actually highlight things like the horn zone shall be extend from the top of the bed zone to 0.1 times of the pipe. It's very detailed to make sure that everything is as in New Zealand standard, or should I say Australian and New Zealand standard 3725. And then the last bit, which is the construction load, which it depends on the vehicles you have put in. Like here is my digger, which is the same graph that I showed you before, which is all green. And then there's my spaceship, which have a red zone and a green zone. So again, it shows you the allowable range at the bottom, which is I have the number there. For the printout graph, you won't exactly know the number of where the boundary is. So you just refer back to that number that is shown here. Or if you want, you can go back to the graph itself, and you actually go around as your mouse goes around, the numbers will just track it. So you know exactly this boundary is, as it says, 0.89. Or you want to find out, oh, if I'm going to put 0.43, how does the earth load and the vehicle load actually look like on the brown line and the blue line, etc. So unfortunately, the printout one, you can't do that. It just roughly tells you here is the boundary. So that's all your printout, and you're happy and you print it in your printer to give it to someone or email that PDF to someone if they don't have a online account with the PipeClass3. So the last bit I want to talk about is the help button. It's actually on the right top corner. This little arrow here, if you clicked it, it have a few things you can actually choose, including if there's anything happen to the app itself, it looks like there's a bug or anything, please press contact us and just describe what happened and screenshot, and they will fix that. There's a little tool thing as well, which is a little bit more simple than what I talked about today. Today, I actually give you an example all the way through what we're going to choose. But there's a help thing. This one is quite useful, especially I imagine you won't remember everything I say today, and you may have a specific thing that you are looking for. So if you click on that, it goes to the help page. It have all the topics that you may want to look at. For example, oh, I'm looking for the current strange condition. It will actually explain what's strange condition here, and even the equation and also the standard it is referring to. And if you want to talk about trench width, and you can click on that, it will go straight to the trench width one as well. So these are very helpful for if you get stuck on anything when you're using the PipeClass3. Cool. That's pretty much me. Any questions?